fun. It's fun to get to do this kind of stuff. He always stands off into the side and never takes any credit for anything.
Welcome to Scheels Hometown Heroes.
Scheels Hometown Heroes is a way for us to say thanks
to those that serve our country and our community
and are still giving back to others today.
We honor your service by sharing your stories.
From all of us at Scheels, thank you for your service.
I had a lot of law enforcement in my neighborhood. I grew up with the chief of police, a deputy, and also state trooper. Liked the military books and stuff like that. I always just kind of wanted to be in the military. In '96, when I was out in Seward, Nebraska, I enlisted out there in the Nebraska Army National Guard.
He told me when we first started dating was, I am going to make a career out of the military. At the time, didn't understand what that meant, but I was thinking, oh, if it's something you would love, then it's something I'll love.
When I first got in, I was an enlisted infantry soldier, and then when we moved back to Iowa, I joined the Iowa Army National Guard, and then I was working at the Gordo County Sheriff's Office in Basin City, Iowa, for about 9 months. And then there was a job opening that came open in Charles City, and was hired here in January of 2001.
When we moved back to Iowa to start our family, and Lenny said he wanted to be a law enforcement officer, I knew right away that it was the career path for him. He had always lived a life of service, and I knew it fit him perfectly, and he would do a really good job.
You hear a lot about Lenny doing one thing or another. Everybody knows Lenny, and he's sort of like our Norm from Cheers. Every time Lenny goes anywhere, everybody's like, hey Luft, hey Lenny. Everybody has something to say to him. So we were partners for a lot of years.
I ended up being the family readiness group leader in our area to try to help other families that were going through the separation of their spouses being in deployment. You know, that helped, having a community or a group of ladies that really stuck together during those times of deployment. But I also come from an incredible community that also supported me, and our community has embraced our family in every aspect of the word. A big part of that would be when we lost our son in 2017. They came around us in a huge way, and I don't think we would have made it through it without them. On July 4th, 2017, we just gotten done watching the parade downtown here in Charles City. Logan had met up with some friends and wanted to go to one of their homes to celebrate the holiday. He went one way, and then we went home to have a barbecue. And we had just sat down to eat, and it hadn't been very long when his phone went off, and I saw him jump up and kind of run towards the house.
A friend of mine here at the police department called me that day and told me, hey, there's an accident, so you need to come, right now. So we did.
By the time we got down there, they were just loading Logan in the back of the ambulance. I remember Lenny jumped out and kind of went into cop mode and was kind of assessing the accident. And me as a mom, I jumped in the back of the ambulance to be with Logan.
Rallied around Logan, and he got loaded into the ambulance, went to the ER, and everybody was there. A lot of family, friends, law enforcement, both the city and the county guys were there in the ER.
We went from there up to Mayo Clinic to St. Mary's. After they told us there was nothing that they could do, the first thing they asked us was, would you consider organ donation? And for us, we had just had that conversation with them not that long before that. So it was a really easy decision for us to make. We're such a competitive family that it was one of those things where they said, potentially he could save up to, 7 people. And so we were kind of like, well, then we're going to save 8. it was one of those things where I don't care what it takes, but we're going to save them all.
Before the funeral, I went and I went to check in on Lenny, and he talked about the organ donation and just really how meaningful it was that they were able to make something good out of such a tragedy of losing Logan.
Lenny came home one day and said, I have this great idea. I think we should write a law that would allow people to sign up to be an organ donor on their hunting and fishing license, and we could call it Logan's Law. And I thought, that's an incredible idea. And he said, I heard that another state did it, and I think it would be perfect for us. I think it'd be perfect for Logan.
So Logan's Law basically is when you go to get your license, your hunting fishing license or your fair bearer's license, the ability to sign up to be an organ donor. And also for the first time hunter that has to go through hunter safety course, there's a video clip, and then also there's an educational material on what an organ donor is and what the expectation is when you do check that block.
At the end of the day, it passed the legislature, the House and the Senate, not a vote against it, 100%.
And it's not for everybody, but at the end of the day, make that choice now and make that choice known, because I know that made it easier for us in the end.
The thing that kept us from losing control of our grief at that point was just the knowing that the good was going to come from it.
And not everybody wants to make that choice, but the people that do, as long as it saves one person's life, it's worth it in the end.
Every once in a while I get an update from the Iowa Department of Natural Resources. They tell me how many people have signed up to be an organ donor through the hunting and fishing license program, and it's in the thousands. And you just think, it was like, what a legacy. Here's a father that lost his oldest son, and he turned a tragedy into something that gave hope to a lot of people. And it will continue to help people. I mean, I think that's like the very essence of service, right?